Welcome to the Biz Show, a podcast about business, sponsored by Investquire. And now, your hosts, Barry and Lisa.
Hi, good morning, Barry.
Hey, how you doing, Lisa?
I'm doing pretty good. It's such a great morning.
You know, it is a good morning, but it's a little foggy out there at the moment, isn't it?
Oh, that's the coastal
fog.
clouds
yes.
for you. The sun should break out later, hopefully.
I'm sure it will. It normally does. So, you know, it's Southern California. It's always sunny in California,
That's
right?
what people think. And then you hear people that are on vacation here and they're saying, where's that sunny California? Where'd the sun?
Yes.
They're coming from those Midwest states with all the rain and snow and
tornadoes and everything going on over there. Oh, my God. That's just like crazy, isn't it?
yeah, the weather patterns have been weird, I think, across the nation.
Yes, they have been.
But one thing doesn't change. People are at work today and running their corporations and businesses, right?
They are, and we're going to talk on our podcast here today, and our topic today is about absentee owners, right? And
Wouldn't we all want to be one?
yes, just own a business and have somebody else run it. And
I
manage
know.
It's a passive income in that case, isn't it?
Yeah, we could be sitting on a beach with a Mai Tai.
Oh, there you go. I like it.
But first they need to hire Investquire.
They do, right? So we can definitely help you out. But, you know,
It's a great topic, though.
it is a good topic. And, you know, I've done a lot of these in the past with owners, and there's all kinds of different reasons why somebody might be an absentee owner, right?
Right? They may have a 9-to-5 job.
They might have a different job.
Yeah.
Right. And so they are now purchasing another company, but they're
As a
not
passive
ready
income?
to leave their other job.
Right.
Right.
They're setting up for retirement, perhaps.
So an investment opportunity in that case.
Exactly.
Right.
It's almost like having residential real estate.
We've had several customers. I've had several customers that have just parked their money, right? So they've got $500,000. They don't want to claim capital gains on it, whatever the case might be.
Right.
So they'll purchase a company with it and keep that company for 3 to 5 years till they figure out what they're going to do, but they don't want to manage it. So they would hire a
Exactly.
company like ourselves to come in and manage it for them.
And we have some great packages that we offer for people depending on what the company is in the industry that they're looking at. And so we have a few clients like that right now asking us for how can they buy a business and be an absentee owner?
Right.
So that's why we thought this would be a great topic to talk about.
We do. And, you know, we get some great packages. We also can tailor a package to your specific needs, right?
Right.
So, you know, we talked about investment opportunities, but there's also diversification, right? And so they might want to diversify their portfolio. They might have other businesses, and now this is going to be a third business, but it's a separate business from their others. They don't really know anything about that business. So
Yeah, I think once somebody does get experience owning a business or running a business or two, then that's when they're like, oh, I'm ready to do a third or a fourth.
right, but they not necessarily can manage all of them in one time. So
Right.
that's where a management company like us would come in and help them kind of work through the daily operations of what that business is.
Also because of lack of time, right? They can't, they're only
Yeah.
one person. It takes a team to run a empire.
I can barely get my shoes on in the morning, let alone anything else, right? Well, no, I'm only teasing, but
Well, why is that, Barry? Should we go into that? No.
no, let's not.
Oh,
Anyways,
gosh.
geographical.
And then, yes, the
Geograph-
geographics.
So we actually have a potential customer that we're talking to right now who's in New York who wants to possibly open up a business in San Francisco. But they're not going to come to San Francisco to operate it and run it and manage it.
Yeah, I'd love to get my hands on that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how that goes, right?
Bi-coastal operations, bi-coastal ownership. I mean,
Yes.
COVID really opened the door to that because people were starting to think outside the box. They didn't have to be traveling in their car every day to work. And so then they were like, oh, I can do business in New York from my computer. I could be on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
And so that really did open up the doors to that way of thinking. And so now
Technology
it's like
has done a lot
norm.
for that. You're right.
Yeah.
And it is. It's bi-coastal. You know, it doesn't really matter where you are today. As long as you got internet connectivity, then you're good. You're golden. You're good to go.
Yeah, that's definitely your specialty.
So another one would be, we talked about passive income already. So another one, lifestyle, right? And the lifestyle basically is just somebody who likes to travel, right? They're all over jet setting across the world or whatever the case might be. And so they need somebody to handle the day-to-day operations of that business.
That would be me.
There you go. Oh, you want to travel?
Can you manage me?
I don't know if there's any managing you, Lisa, man.
You're so happy I showed up to this podcast today.
I am.
Well, that's a whole nother podcast. But anyway, yeah, lifestyle. I mean, the more passive income you have, the more you're able to enjoy life. You can travel, you could be jet set, you can be in another location while your company's being run by a Barry and Lisa, by Investquire, by a management company.
You know, when I was in the military, I traveled the world, right? I've been to Australia, Italy, France, Spain, Japan, also some bad places like Beirut, El Salvador, Nicaragua during war times. But nonetheless, my wife and I thought, after we get to a certain point, we want to buy a motorhome and just travel the U.S. for like a year.
Right.
Who knows where we're going to end up, where we're going to go. We're just going to pick a direction and start driving and then stop and stay for a week and then move on to the next week, so on and so forth.
So we talked about goals with Anthony, you know, being in the military. So is that your goal?
That's one of them. I got plenty. I just don't know which one bubbles to the top.
I know they're in your Evernote.
They are, and there we go. But that is something that somebody might be an absentee owner because they're out gallivanting around the country. Another one is expertise utilization, right? Expertise utilization. Not having the skill. They don't have the skill, so they would reach out to us, and then we could provide that skill.
Right. Instead of making too many mistakes as a new business owner, it's like, well, let's just do this right from the get-go.
I don't know how many new business owners I've counseled. And you said the key words, right?
Making mistakes.
And it's just,
which costs them a lot of money, right?
It does cost a lot of money. But, you know, is it really a mistake? It's just you don't know.
Right.
Right?
You don't know what you don't know until you don't know
it. There you go. You're getting it. I'm rubbing off on you.
I know. I'm becoming like Barry Best Pitch. Oh, no. I'm so scared.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's really, really crucial is to know that, is to actually admit and be aware that I don't know how to run this company. But I'm not afraid to buy it because I know it's going to produce a lot of income and be profitable.
Yes.
But let's run it right from the start.
Exactly. So the next is a risk management, which kind of falls back into the diversification piece of it, right? But you want to spread out your risk across several different companies. And where does that really come into play? It's really about the industries, right? For instance, gas versus food, gas is furniture. One industry might be doing really, really good and selling like hotcakes, and another's failing miserably, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's like in residential real estate, you diversify your portfolio. Maybe you own a home in Iowa and it's not really that much profitable. Maybe it's a break even for you, but in the long run, it's equitable because it accumulates appreciation. So you're going to have the same in businesses.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, for that diversification, it just boils back down to you having different types of businesses and you might need help managing them.
Right.
And then, you know, the next couple ones are kind of, they're, I won't say out there, but they're just on the fringes, right? And that would be legacy and succession planning. Right? You don't know what business you want to manage. You don't know where your legacy is going to be yet. You've diversified. You got 3 or 4 different businesses. So you've got a management company managing them for you while you try to figure it out. And maybe that is that lifestyle. You're just out jet setting and forget it.
Yeah. Or you have a child that is like, hey, I want to take over, you know, like Anthony's doing with me right now. I mean, it falls into play after you establish your legacy of businesses that you own. And then all of a sudden, maybe one of your children or grandchildren or a relative may say, hey, I want to operate that business and take it over for you. Right.
Yes. And then probably the last one is about personal and more about health. Right. So somebody might perhaps have had a heart attack or has gotten a medical scare. They need to step away from the business, but it's still a good business. They don't want to, you know, lose it or toss in the towel on it. So they would hire a third-party company like us to come in and manage it for them.
Like an unfortunate circumstance or maybe more of an emergency situation.
Yes. And, you know, as far as the management services go, they depend on the timeline, can depend on, is it short term like 6 months or is it long term like 6 years, right?
Right. It could be a temporary management.
Some of them have been. We've done that in the past where we've had temporary, we'll come in for 90 days and manage it because something else is going on in the owner's life
we do that too, just so you know.
Yes. Well, everything that we talk about today, Investquire is going to do. And let's talk about the services that we will provide or can provide. And as you said, we have packages. We have a high, medium, low package. We also have a custom package where, we can tailor something specific to your needs, right?
Or maybe it's a weakness that the owner has, like
right.
building a website or
whatever,
human resources or something.
So basically, bottom line is operational management, right? The day-to-day operations.
Right.
So.
And then there's performance monitoring.
So, yeah.
Like doing your reports.
Day-to-day operations,
analyzing.
Performance monitoring, they all kind of go hand in hand in the sense that, we will be monitoring and managing the day-to-day operations of it. How are we going to do that? Well, we might hire a general manager, put them in place, and then we'll manage and guide and coach them to the, where it might be.
I think that's where businesses fail. Like people get into trouble because they're not having the daily operations managed, and then they get too ahead of themselves and they're like, oh no, I'm really not producing as much as I need to sustain the business or to make it, grow to the next level. So then they're like having to backtrack.
You're exactly right. And I tell every one of my customers, you need to know what your number is daily.
Right.
You and I have discussed this in the past. And they kind of look at me like, what do you mean? Well, how much money do you need to make today to be profitable? Well, I don't know. I look at that at the end of the month. Well, so then how do you track it? How do you keep online? How do you know if you're behind schedule, if you're on schedule, or ahead of schedule, right? So every single day, you should be looking at your accounting software, and you should be looking at your number and see where you're at. You know what the nut is that you need to reach at the end of the month, but, how do you get there?
Yeah, knowledge is power.
And the other thing that I see is a lot of owners, they think they know everything. Or not necessarily, maybe they don't know everything, but they think they can learn it and they can do it. But again, that's one of those pitfalls and mistakes, because how do you know what you don't know if you don't know what you don't know?
Or they're not willing to, admit that they're weak in one of the areas.
We all have weaknesses.
Yeah, or sometimes
Everybody
they're
does.
just really greedy and they don't want to invest the money in having a business management system.
Yes.
Do it for them. People are like overachievers and they think they could handle it all, right? So it's like actually having the ability to admit and.
Well, what comes out of that?
So I always say you
right?
have to spend money to make more money. Like leverage yourself, right?
Well, that's the model, right? Spend money to make money. But when you see people like that, for me, I always see burnout on them, right?
Yeah.
So you lit that candle, you lit it at both ends. Eventually, they're going to meet in the middle and burn out.
Right.
So you got to be careful on that. And
exactly. Having balance.
so the next offering is financial management, right? And that's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I don't want to do this for my company. I always hire a system or a management company for bookkeeping, accounting, CPA. I mean, that's their specialty.
It is.
Let them do that all day long.
But under the operational management, we would manage that, and then we would just provide reports and stuff like that back to the owners of, here it is. Oh, and by the way, here's the check for you for this month, and you made XYZ dollars, right? But the financial part of it's big, right? The bookkeeping and accounting and the budgeting and the financial recording and reporting and all that. Depending on the business, I mean, you might have to do that. If you're a corporation, well, you gotta have
so many reports,
notes and reports and all that that are required by law.
That you have to keep up to date and current.
Exactly.
And beware, because there's a lot of fraudulent financial management companies out there that are actually embezzling from you. That happened to me and my husband when we had our door and window construction company. We hired a person to write checks to our vendors and do all of our financials every day, and they ended up taking money out of our checking account and embezzling.
I had a customer that had that happen to him, and so for me, I always put that it needs 2 signatures to go out the door.
Yeah.
Right. And so that way that person didn't have access. And what I actually did is I had several different bank accounts. So there's a bank account that they might have access to,
right,
that had just the amount of money that they needed.
Yes.
Right. And then I would transfer money in and out and stuff like that, because there's a trust factor, right? And until you really get to know that person, and even when you get to know that person, still, those are things you got to watch out for.
Absolutely.
So the next one is?
Staff management, hiring, training, HR support.
This is a tough one, right?
It's tough because some people can't fire or they don't know how to hire.
I was a hatchet man for a while.
I mean, some people hire because they like the person, but it's not necessarily going to be a person that should be involved in your company to help you achieve the goals that you need to.
Exactly.
So there's things out there like disc tests and ways to find employees that will actually benefit you in the long run because they are going to fill in the gaps of where maybe your weaknesses are.
Well, this is a weakness I see a lot of people. I've probably done over 4,500 interviews in my management career.
Interviews are such an interesting process now because it's all about personal life.
I love
asking those
interviews.
questions.
And honestly, it's psychology.
Yeah, it is.
And I've hired people that are completely not qualified at all, but I know I can teach them.
Yeah, they're trainable.
But because of they're trainable and their character and their personality.
Yeah.
Right? So I've had people come in with PhDs, MBAs.
Oh, right.
And I hired a high school dropout.
Because you're like, because it's a personality.
Because I don't really care. I mean, I have 3 college degrees, but I don't care. I'm looking for, and I've learned over the years, I'm looking for the person that's going to fit in with the team, with the company, with myself, and that's trainable, and we can get them to do it. And I know that once they learn it, they're going to run with it.
And we talked about the imposter syndrome. So beware when you are hiring of where that person may fall in the imposter syndrome.
Right. And if you do an interview and you interview somebody for your company and in 30 minutes you've hired them, you screwed up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What do you know about this person? You don't know anything. They just walked in the door. They might have handed you a resume. Did you check that resume? Did you do any background checks on that? I suggest you probably should have 2, maybe even 3 interviews with that person, depending on the level. I've gone so far with some of the executives and stuff like that. We've had 7, 8, 9, 10 interviews and even a dinner with them and their family.
Definitely.
Because when you put somebody in an executive vice president position,
you're in bed with them for a long time.
Yes.
So definitely take the time and do the process correctly.
And so there are software packages out there, right? So HRIS systems and stuff like that can be put in place to manage these things. There's certain things you need to keep. If you hire minor, guess what? You got to have a work permit.
You need to do quarterly reviews, right?
Exactly. All right. So the next one is the maintenance and upkeep, right, of the facilities. Mm-hmm. So you have an office building or a business, whatever the case might be. You know, on the day-to-day operations, typically we would do weekly inspections or whatever the case might be, go around and look to see what's broken, what needs to be fixed.
Yeah, there's so many compliances that you may not be aware of.
Yes.
You have to have postings for your employees and whatnot.
Well, yeah, state of California and most states have some type of OSHA things that need to be put up and wage things and labor laws and stuff like that. All that stuff needs to be posted. And guess what? They come by and they check.
Yes. Or an employee could rat you out.
And
you never know.
Get fined if you don't have those up.
Definitely.
And, health inspections if you're a restaurant. And, the fire marshal's going to come by once or twice a year. Mm-hmm. And they're going to check for your sprinkler systems and fire extinguishers and all that stuff. No matter what business you are. They go to every single business.
Right. Yep.
All right, next one is...
So your client interactions, customer service, managing your relationships so you don't lose your client to your competitor. Being in real estate, that happens to us quite frequently because it's all about staying in touch and maintaining the relationship long term. There's a lot of ways to do that. Nurture the relationship. Just because they completed a business transaction with you doesn't mean that the relationship is over. So it's very important to continue managing them and making sure they're happy with the service that you provide or the product.
And staying in touch with them. Communication is big. I try to reach out to every single one of my customers once a week. How many times have I asked you, Lisa, hey, have you talked to so-and-so or have you heard from so-and-so?
Yeah.
Whatever the case might be. Because I understand and I know that's the really easy way to lose your customers,
right?
Yeah,
definitely.
If you're not staying in touch with them on a weekly basis and staying top of mind, and then all of a sudden your competitor comes in and you're not top of mind, guess what?
And there's multiple systems that nowadays we have to do that with. We have CRM systems, we do it by email, we do it direct mail, and then also the phone calls.
And I'm old-fashioned. I really like picking up the phone and talking to somebody.
And meeting them face-to-face.
I love meeting customers face-to-face.
And of course, all that takes time.
Well, it does.
Right?
Absolutely it does.
So marketing and sales, that's a fun one.
Marketing and sales, and I know you love marketing and
I
sales,
love
right?
to market. I love to, use unique verbiage that would stand out and actually create interest for your business.
So many customers, even some that we have now, and their businesses for sale. We're the first ones to market their business, and I don't know how long. Right? They don't really market their business at all. And now we're selling the business, and we're coming out with all this marketing material and all this stuff for them. Like, wow.
Yeah.
It's like, where were we 2 years ago?
Photography.
Yeah.
Right?
So, marketing and sales obviously is important, right? Sales, you need sales because you're going to lose customers on the back end. You need to bring customers in the front end. Everyone gets comfortable with what we call a book of business, right? And that big book of business, let's say it's $20,000 a month with 100 customers. And then if you lose 2 customers, then you got to go find 2 more customers.
Exactly.
Right? So that you can kind of keep and protect that book of business with so many customers or so much dollar amounts.
And it's also ever changing. I mean, you can't just stick to one model. You have to keep up with the times and try different types of marketing to see what generates the revenue, right?
No, exactly. And this kind of takes it back to what I was talking about earlier in the podcast, where you need to know your number. And if you got your number and you know what your number is, and if you're losing customers, your sales are going down, this is where you need to step up and get more sales, right? And how are you going to do that? Market and sales. All right. So next would be...
So what is it? Technology.
So
technology.
This is where we would help manage that technology, the systems, the network, security, cyber security.
Protect your business. I mean, that's a financial loss. If all of your data and client information and financials got loose on the internet.
Here's a funny thing.
Some hacker. Oh
my
gosh.
What's today? 2 nights ago. My wife and I are sitting in the evening watching TV, and we get an alert that somebody tried to log into our Amazon account from New York.
Oh, yeah.
And then I got an alert somebody tried to log into my Twitter account from Arizona.
Oh, wow.
And then like an hour later, somebody was trying to log into my Facebook.
All the same day?
All in the same day. And then yesterday I think somehow I got on a list of... for the hackers or whatever case might be, they've tried to break into 7 systems of mine, right?
That's crazy.
They didn't get into any because you
have an alert and second notification.
I've got second notifications. I got 2-factor authentication enabled and stuff like that. So they didn't get in, but a lot of people overlook this stuff.
But we have a great vendor too that does provide cybersecurity if anyone needs that. I mean, it's definitely a crucial part of a big corporation. And we provide the service as well. But that's something people don't think of,
the 2 things, I've said this so many times, that companies overlook is security and training. Training your employees and security are the last things that ever get funded in a corporation.
Right.
And it's really should be the first things that get funded. I don't know why it's that way, but it is.
Exactly. So compliance and legal is also another aspect of your business that we don't look into until we need it.
Right.
Like a fire drill. Oh my gosh, I need an attorney.
But, and that's where we come in, right? So we make sure that you have all the documents and that you have those documents and they are readily available, right?
Yes.
And so there would be a common place that those would be stored, whether they're electronically stored or whether they're physically stored. It depends. But there's all kinds of things, right? Contract management, agreements, negotiations, your lease, things like that. Those are all things that we handle for you.
And making sure they're up to date.
Right. And then last but least, when you wrap all of this together...
reports.
We got to report it to the absentee owner. Hey, this is your business. Here's the health. Here's a snapshot. This is what it looks like. I've put, diagrams and pie charts and stuff like that together to show them what it is. And then we list, the bullet items of the good stuff and the bad stuff, things that needed immediate attention, things that need attention, 90 days from now, so on and so forth. And here's your check.
Right. So, and time goes by fast, so it's important to be consistent with that.
time does go by fast. And, really that takes us to the end of our podcast, right?
This was a quick podcast, but a very simple one. And these are the details. We can always email them out to you so you can take a look at your business that you currently have and say, what area am I not, paying attention to that may need some help?
And if you are an absentee owner and you need help, reach out to us for sure. We've got a whole package that we can sit down and send over to you. We can sit down with you, understand your needs, and create a custom one.
Yeah, and between Barry and I, we have, 60 years experience, a vast, diverse experience in different industries. So definitely we are here for you to help.
We are. That wraps it up. Don't forget to reach out to us at investquire.com and also on our Facebook page.
The Biz Show.
The Biz Show,
and
right?
Investquire.
Lisa
on Facebook,
and I would
Instagram.
love to hear from you. And you got any questions, send them our way. We'll get back to you. If you have any ideas that you would like to hear on the podcast, some topics or something like that, reach out. Let us know.
Let us know.
Definitely take.
Yeah. Until next time.
All right, guys.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.